It was around the time of the tennis, Australian Open, and I was out for dinner with my family. There was a table with Novak Djokovic, Boris Becker, the wives, and I happened to know one of the girls on the table. And the conversation quickly turned to what I was wearing. The wives were like, we love one, we want one. Ended up creating a jacket for them. And all of a sudden they started messaging me, my friend wants one, my friend wants one.
Is it a matter of her, if she does that and then everyone sees it, oh, I want that jacket, and then it explodes in that regard, and then you do have those sales?
If you could talk to yourself when you first started this whole journey, what's the one thing you'd tell yourself?
I wish
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a lonely journey up the top. I would look at the fashion industry, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a really hard space to be successful in.
Oh, absolutely. Like the zoo out there.
What's the one thing you wish everyone knew about fashion?
You know what's really good about doing this podcast?
What is it?
It's that you get to connect with not only our listeners, but then other people outside of our circle and people that we probably normally wouldn't have on the podcast. That's what's really cool about this.
Why would we not have this person on the podcast?
Well, I'm saying it's outside of our realm.
Talking about me?
We are. We're talking about you, but
Right.
indirectly.
Yeah, it's like you're not here.
This is like the intro where we were just about to surprise everyone with a guest speaker, because we normally do a lot of podcasts with just me and Robbie. But today we have a very special guest with us. We've got Rochelle here from Rocky Raffaella.
Hello, I'm excited
Welcome.
for this. Thank you.
Welcome. So
Yeah.
for those who don't know who you are, do you want to give us a little bit of a spiel about, what you do and I guess how you guys know each other, how we've met before?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll take the conversation from there.
So I am Rochelle Gregory, started Rocky Raffaella straight out of uni. It was kind of like one of those things where I just missed getting an internship with Alexander Wang, which was like my dream.
And who's that, for those of you that don't know, because I don't know who that is.
Oh.
You don't know who Alexander Wang is?
Do you know who else? Do you know him well?
There's a bit of controversy there now.
Okay.
Back then, he was a very well-known fashion designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so loved his stuff, just missed out on getting it to one other girl. And I used that as kind of fuel and motivation to start Rocky Raffaella. Mental health is kind of part of my journey. So I just have to touch on that because that's what fueled the brand as well. It was like I wanted to create a universe to escape to.
Yeah, cool.
So,
And did you kind of lose yourself in that work universe?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the first time I was like, this is Rochelle Gregory. Like I felt like I was 100% my true self when I designed. So then, I created Rocky Raffaella and I hit kind of big success pretty early on. Within 2 years, I was dressing some big names. And I think that happened just from that, go-getter personality, like jumping to things. And the clothes are very unique. People hadn't seen them, being out, wearing it at the right time, attracted all this crazy stuff. So that's kind of how my journey started. Today still going strong. 9 years later, here I am.
Yeah, nice. So for people who don't know the brand, tell us a little bit about, obviously we do, big fans. Great jacket, by the way. Is that your
Great jacket.
Yeah, sick
Yeah.
jacket. How goes the jacket?
I'm getting MJ vibes.
First thing she said, first thing I said when she walked in, I was like, sick jacket. I like red.
Yeah.
I've noticed you wear red shoes sometimes.
Yes, I saw those when I came in the other day.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, right.
Cool thing. And you got to be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Confidence.
They make you run faster too, yeah?
Of course. Why else would you wear it?
Yeah, I got here in 2 seconds wearing this jacket.
Yeah. Is that your...
Yes, this is one of my designs.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, why I think I'm a little bit unique is I kind of pushed the boundaries. So this is all hand-smocked. So I work with like basket weavers and Indonesian artisans to create kind of, out of the ordinary designs. So it's like a hand-sewn technique that creates like a texture within the material.
Is that what's happening on the
Yeah,
sleeves?
that's it.
Okay,
Right, yeah.
cool.
So for those who don't know the brand, it's that element of yin and yang. It's like got this very feminine touch to it that it's like mixed with this edginess and kind of, feminine edge, rebellion meets class. It's like that middle boundary.
Yeah, do you have a men's range as well, or you do just do women's at the moment?
No, so I do custom jackets for men. Like I've dressed a few people like that.
The shirts as well, don't you do shirts?
Yeah, well,
Some
the
shirts?
shirts are quite like, you'd see more like your DJs and that kind of like, you got to, I don't know, could you pull off a shirt? Like
Me?
a leopard pink
If you'd brought
shirt?
one, I would have put one on now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, bring it.
So
leopard,
yeah,
I'm all
I
about
guess
leopard.
For as long as I've
Leopard,
known you, like I couldn't.
Yeah, that's my thing.
I associate the two. I can't not look at a leopard and think of you.
He said tight like a tiger because I was sitting opposite him.
Well, I mean, the shirts are unisex, but yeah, I guess anyone can.
But
wear
it is
them.
so you
Feminine,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
It's
It's
a
more.
women's
It's more.
brand.
That's right. It's more tailored towards that.
Women. Yeah.
Yeah, to that sex.
You'd be very masculine
To wear one.
to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Or not.
Yeah, or not, or completely the opposite. Yeah, I would definitely pull it off though, just for the
About
record.
how you
So
feel.
I would look at the fashion industry, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would look at that industry and think it's a really hard space to be successful in. Kind of like when you want to, say if you grow up and you're like, I want to be an actor, I want to be a famous actor, or I want to be a famous singer. It's one of those industries that so many people want to do it, so many people want to be successful in. And it's kind of, you see the best of the best, but you don't see anything else in between that.
Yeah.
Is that a correct assumption of the industry?
Oh, absolutely. It's like the zoo out there. But in saying that, I mean, I feel like it's really important for me to stay true to my identity. So I've always kind of created these really show-stopping pieces. They're very unique. And I think that's why celebs like them so much. If you think about it, they could wear whatever they want.
Yeah.
But I think my clothes spoke to people because it was so different. And I remember last year when I was purely focusing on the Australian market, a lot of buyers or mentors were really trying to get me to, be like other brands, a lot.
Got to sell your soul a little bit.
Yeah. And, do what these people are doing. And I stuck to my grounds. I'm like, no, because people come to me for that, uniqueness or, not to wear what every single other person is wearing. So I found that a lot of Australian brands, all are kind of staying in that
Safe zone?
Yeah. And I'm not. And I don't plan on changing just to be like everybody else.
So you're more of a boutique like company in that regard?
Yeah.
Would that so is it difficult for you? So say your jacket you're wearing now, could you sell 10,000 units
No.
of that jacket?
No.
Yeah. So it's like, no, this is the jacket. This is the, again, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm ignorant in this space.
Yeah.
But is it just by order? So someone sees that jacket online or you wearing it or someone else wearing it and say, hey, I love that jacket. Can I have one? I'm this size. And then you make it for them?
It used to
How does it, do you actually sit there and make each piece?
Jacket.
Or just maybe not jackets, but anything?
Are they made to
All of
order?
it. Yeah.
Are you asking?
But are you the one that it's actually sewing it together and putting it together, or do you have a team doing that?
No, I have a
How
team
do you-
doing that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the start, of course, like I have to teach my team, especially when I design, I always come up with a new concept or a new skill that I've learned. That's part of the design process. And then I'll go back and teach the team, how to do it. And then we go through kind of a learning process of like the skills that are going into the new collection.
Yeah.
But yeah, very much. Look, it still takes 3 days. There's still a lot of artistry that goes into it. It's all hand-smocked.
Yeah.
Which takes a lot of time. So, yeah, it's not fast-paced fashion, but at the same time, we also don't want to, there's a lot of sustainability and all that these days. So, if we don't keep a lot of stock, however, we do have some. So you can order one online, but it's not going to take 5 weeks to get one or something like that.
Iggy, order me a pink leopard shirt now.
No.
Right now.
So, but what I'm trying to say is, we keep wastage in mind, but at the same time, we do have some stock. If that makes sense.
So just for the people who don't know, not me, of course, other people.
Yeah.
What's hand-smocked?
Hand-smocked. So it's a hand-sewn technique. So pretty much you do like a grid, and then it's the way you sew it with a sewing needle and thread, and then when you turn it the other way, it's a whole pattern.
Oh.
So it creates a texture within the material. So to give that 3D effect.
Yeah.
Is that what's happened here?
That's it.
That's
Right
cool.
there.
That looks sick.
Yeah, that's cool.
It looks like a braid, but it's actually called smocking.
Yeah, cool.
Red leather. Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah.
But it is giving MJ vibes. I like it.
It is very much. Why fashion?
Good question. I think just I've always been creative. Like I struggled immensely throughout high school with learning difficulties. Like a teacher would explain something and I would literally think they were speaking another language. Like I just didn't get things.
Yeah.
But I was always creative. And that came out later when it was like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was just in this absolute destructive pattern, drinking, all that, just living this extreme life. And I think a life coach, helped me uncover that I had a love for design. But at the time I couldn't see it because I was so dark. But yeah, I guess as soon as I started, it was like, wow, okay, I was born to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's often a sad reality. A lot of the people that have a decent level of success do come from hard times because it's like they hit rock bottom and then it's, well, what's the way out? And this is the way out. And also you hit the nail on the head. Like you went to school, it didn't relate to you. And it's so unfortunate. That's where the education system here fails so many people, especially people even in
traditional.
It's like
learning.
this. Well, they're factory work. They're an organization to breed factory workers. I want you to go out, get a job, pay your taxes, buy a house, die.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
There's nothing there to say, well, hang on, why don't you go and create a one-off piece and be highly successful, have heaps of, quality of life and business and all that sort of stuff. They won't ever teach that and they don't encourage it. It's like, no, what's the square root of, 53,000?
Well, that's why I think I went,
I'll tell you.
God, no one was that.
I'll tell you.
I think that's why I, hit that kind of rebellious wildlife because I didn't fit that. I was so different and in so many ways. So I think that's when I turned to this like unhealthy lifestyle because, I wasn't what, you
didn't fit into you didn't fit between the lines, right?
Exactly
You're
right.
like, I don't fit in this square or this circle or whatever shape it is that you
but I can party, so let's go party,
Yeah, and also partying tends to be a way where it's like, well, I'm not going to think about how I don't fit in that thing while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like a
Escape?
escape, numbness.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, let me just drown
The pain.
everything out and focus on this one thing. Okay. What's I'm like probably the least fashionable human on the planet. I have like 37 black t-shirts
And a pair of red shoes.
and a pair of red shoes. What's the one thing you wish, like obviously being in the space and doing what you do at that level, what's the one thing you wish everyone knew about fashion?
The design process behind it, especially with my brand, it's like a journey. Like I literally just when my last collection was this, I started to look at my life at, like a domino effect, like this experience or this meeting this person. And I just started to think, wow, this is like how I am here today. This is the butterfly effect. Like all these small habits and choices that I had made had now created who I am today. And that kind of was like, oh, that's the butterfly effect. So then I started getting really into butterflies, the way, they looked, the colors on their, wings, like everything. I went down a rabbit hole and that's the part I love, the design process. And I think so much goes into it. It's not just fast fashion. You're creating something that's coming out of your inner world and there's so much to it. A lot of brands today even just, buy other brands' clothing and take it to the factory and say, copy this. And it's going on and it's happening a lot. Copy this in this amount of colors. And it's like, throw a few roses on it and, call it your own.
Make it 20% different.
Yeah.
So it's not
and
copyright.
It's like, there's actually real artistry that's involved in brands and, there's so much you don't see. And that's why I share a lot of it on Instagram, like me behind the scenes, creating it all because it's important.
Yeah, well, it's good for people to see that process and see what's behind it, and they get more of an understanding and connection with the brand when that happens too.
Yeah.
Now, we both do that. We share a lot of behind the scenes stuff, just educational things in our businesses. And people relate to that, especially your target audience. They'll relate to that and appreciate it and then feel more connected to what you're doing and what you're selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find anyone did that for you? Like tried to steal a piece? And
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I had a call from a friend one day and she was like, oh, she has a really big brand called Rat and Boa. And my friend Valentina rang me one day and she's like, hey, I just want to let you know this girl's bought stuff from me and you, and she's taken it to the factory and created her own brand, mixing both of your brands. I was like, what? And like back then I was like, you know, I was
Let's
yeah.
Let's burn a factory down.
Yeah, I'm like,
Where she
she's
lives, we'll
fucked.
slash her
Like,
tires.
Actually. And I remember like I remember her being like, when are my clothes coming, blah, 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 blah. And then what I realized was she was waiting for my clothes to arrive so she could use them on set for her own shoot. So anyway, now when you look at the brand, it's literally like Rocky Raffaella times Rat and Boa. And I used to get so angry because it's like I literally like work my ass off, but now it's like flattery.
Well, that's
Flattery.
it. Yeah, well, it's you know what I'm about to say.
copying is a
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
That's it.
You know, so like they'll never be you. They can only ever copy your idea once you've made it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't end up like I look at stuff like that when people try to imitate. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like there's only one me.
Yeah.
There's only one you. There's only one you. Like it's
No one else.
they can't do it better than us.
Yeah. Plus,
So-
she would use like polyester materials, and people would like
Yeah.
feel like they were on a sauna. Anyway, she just didn't really understand or know fashion, and you know, tried to rip off other people.
What do you say? Polyester materials make you feel like you're in a sauna. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, you can't breathe in it. It's a very cheap material. So if you're making a shirt out of it, you're going to sit there sweating.
Polyester?
I think that's cotton from my eyes.
Okay.
It's a cotton t-shirt. But yeah,
Just
it's
learning.
Oh, it's me too. I can't look at a leopard the other way.
Well, I've got
any other way now.
I've
without
got a
sneezing.
question for you guys.
Oh, goodness me.
Okay, so we obviously have this beautiful sign here that's shining in my eyes. I want to know where $1 Million Days came from and the story behind it.
Very cool.
Go for it.
Are you there? All right. So we were at, I'm pumped. Great question. I think we've discussed this, but we just sort of breezed over it. Not in great-
refresher.
Yeah.
A refresher for everyone who
So
may have.
we were at a
recently
training
joined.
actually 2.5 years ago.
Was it that long?
Fuck, it's long. It'd have to be. It'd have to be at
Yeah.
least. It was about 2.5 years ago. So before we started running events and doing all that sort of stuff, we're at a training to learn how to run events and do trainings on stage and all that sort of stuff. And part of the training was like, he was showing us how to sell from stage. And we're like, man, if you nail that, you'll make $1 million in a day. Like without a doubt.
Okay.
You'll make and we're like, it was honestly out of, and not to shit at anyone in the room because
terms
everyone's
of-
got their own journey.
Sorry, in terms of like their mindset or how they're running. You know?
No,
It was the concept
the
of selling
concept
from
of
one
selling.
to many.
Yeah.
So it's the concept of get a bunch of people
In
who
a
are your ideal
room.
client in a room. It started off with you. I can't remember whether you turned back or I turned back, but we looked at each other and we're like, we should do an event. And he's like, fucking know if we should do a fucking event. And then we did. And then the whole concept of we're going to make $1 million in a day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, $1 million days.
That's terrific. I love that. That's
Yeah.
so good.
And then that's how like it all kind of come to fruition from, I think it was day 4 at the event.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Because we were literally there and it was like a 5 or 6 day straight training broken into 3 sections. And this was the level 2 of the training. And we were there and like the things he was telling us, we'd seen it from stage from other people as well. So we knew that what he was teaching us actually works.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter about having a product to sell from stage. And then we went out on our first event and we killed it. Like we did really well and made, we've openly said it, like in a day, I did 350 grand in sales
What?
in a day, in one day.
Wow.
Now that's not money in the bank account right there and then, but it was committed over 12 months, whatever it
Yeah.
might be. But you still take it. I'll take it as a win. But the whole concept behind it was like we saw how it could happen and how it could work. And we're like, you nail this and it's only a matter of time before you have those $1 million days. And then that's sort of how the podcast came to fruition. And, it was probably 6 months post that we actually started episode 1. He literally messaged me and goes, hey, we should start a podcast. I'm like, fucking oath.
$1 million days.
And then, it just started.
Love it.
And it just came from that.
Yeah. And it probably started off, our journey to making $1 million in a day, because it's such a far-fetched concept to so many people.
Yeah.
Like, most people in the world that you speak to are just like, I would love to have $1 million.
Yeah.
And we're talking about doing it in a single day, not over the course of a year, 10 years, 30 years. No. We're going to do it in a day. And even then, when it happens, and it'll happen, it's like you're like, well, what's next?
You can do anything.
How do you make 10 in a day?
Yeah.
I think it's
Because there's people out there, like this is where the limiting beliefs come in from so many people, and why I think a lot of business owners go against the grain when it comes to that, because you could have very easily not got that internship with Alex, was it?
Alexander McQueen.
McQueen.
I wish. Alexander Wang.
Wang. So Mr. Wang, you missed out, buddy. But you could have very easily gone somewhere else and gone for another internship, or gone and worked for another brand.
Yeah.
And just been that.
or just went and worked retail, for example,
Yeah.
like most people do.
Like most people would.
Yeah, most
exactly.
people would. When they want to do
In that
fashion, they're like,
space.
yeah, I'll go work at YD.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with like belief systems. And I'm very, very like aware of this. Like, I had no business experience when I started the brand. I was literally straight out of uni, but I did have a belief that I had a talent to show the world.
Yeah.
So I really believed that, I had this, and that's kind of what drove the brand as well. Because if I didn't, I'd probably, be working for Scanlan or something.
Yeah. And that's fine if you decided to go down that path and you enjoyed it. But it's the ability to go against the grain is what's really going to get you some success and fulfillment in life, I believe, anyway.
Yeah.
And that's where I see a lot of people that are in our circle, and just anyone giving it a nudge and just doing something above the norm. And you can still do above the norm in a job.
Yeah.
But I find that those people that have real ultimate success have just pushed the limits in whatever you can do.
Yeah. I actually remember having like really limited money in the bank, and
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to dress, the Hadids, which was huge in my eyes. And for people who don't know who that is, they're like a really well-known family in LA.
Yeah.
And,
Aren't they from Dubai or
daughters,
something?
Muhammad Hadid is the father, and then the daughters are Bella and Gigi Hadid, and
They're very famous.
very famous. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
she a model?
The two, yeah.
Yeah.
There's two sisters, and then
They're massive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
massive. Yeah,
Yeah.
like hugely famous.
Famous.
yeah, and then
So-
they've got another sister that's not so well known, but
Yeah.
now she's more
Dud.
so. Oh, no, well, yeah.
Fame
Anyway,
of the family.
we became friends, me and that the half sister,
Oh, yeah.
and then they had a half brother that went out with Dua Lipa, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all. I got my clothes on that kind of circle.
Yeah.
But I just remember not having a lot of money and just being like, you know what, this is actually a really huge opportunity. I didn't even know if I was going to meet him, but I knew that I had to get the jacket to him some way. So I got on the plane. Everyone told me not to. I kind of just jumped at the opportunity. And what ended up happening was I ended up meeting him. He did a live, unbelievable, situation. And then that, just from being there, went to dressing Paris Hilton, and then went to all these other huge things just from that. But if you were in a situation and too logical, you would have been like, oh, that's not a smart idea. The funds, X, Y, Z, not to go. But I always had that like, going against the grain of what people said, and just like jumping at what I intuitively felt was right.
Yeah, roll the dice.
Yeah. Alex Hormozy said this the other day. It's like, never take advice from poor people. And that's not poor as in monetarily poor, like you might be well off, but it's effectively saying don't take advice from people who haven't achieved the things that you want to achieve, or just within their own circle, their own bubble.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, don't go overseas. No, don't do that. Do you know how much an airplane ticket is these days? It's like $1,200 return. Like
And accommodation.
Then accommodation. Then you got to, don't drink the water there. You'll
US dollar.
get sick. And like, there's so many barriers that they just put up. And it's like, cool. Like, if you had listened to that, you'd probably never would have had those opportunities that opened up to you.
Yeah, and that's also their thought system based on what
Correct.
they know.
Off their experiences. And this is what I'm saying. Their experience isn't going to be your experience. They're getting their knowledge from the limiting beliefs that they've encompassed over the years and are giving it to you based off that.
Yeah.
It's like, hang on, when was the last time you met one of the richest families in the world?
Yeah, Exactly.
I
Right.
was like, oh, well, I never did. Yeah, because I guarantee you that if you just posted it to him and did it express post, so
Yeah.
he gets it soon, he'd probably look at it, go, oh, it's a cool jacket, wear it once, maybe never wear it. Just go, oh, I'm over this now.
Yeah.
It took 2 days. But now when you come here and you go, here you go, here's the jacket I personally made for you.
Yeah.
And like, wow, this is amazing. This is cool. Let's talk about
Yeah.
it. And see that you're a half decent person, because people always love to buy from people as well. They want to see the face behind the creation at the end of the day. And the fact that you've gone over there and had that connection is massive.
Yeah. Well, I just quickly, what else ended up happening from that? I believe like it's about what you do at that time as well. Like I remember I had a wish list, while you're there, try and get into 5 stores, like dream big, wrote them all down, emailed them 30 times, nothing happened. I'm like, I'm going to go in there every morning. My top one was Fred Siegel. It's on Sunset Boulevard. 30 emails, nothing back. Anyway, went in there every morning with the jacket on. One of the mornings, this lady came up to me and she goes, oh, can I ask you, like, where's your jacket from? She goes, oh, I'm actually the buying manager or blah, blah, blah. And I'm never on the floor because they're not these days.
Yeah.
But I just happen to be here. I would love to book you in to meet with the buyers. Within a couple of months, I was stocked in Fred Siegel and it was like money I didn't even knew I could make.
Opportunity was, you took the opportunity and you were persistent too. Because I've heard this thing, you're only 10 no's away from a yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
imagine if you knew on the 10th no you were going to get the yes next, you would go out and try and get those no's as soon as you possibly could.
Yeah.
But people get so discouraged at that first no that they never take the step to the next one and to the next one and to the next one. But you've just got to be so persistent.
Oh my God, failures is like, I love every time I get a no or a failure, it's like, what can I learn from this? Failures are, I believe, what made me get success and like not being afraid of it either.
So going back a little bit to when you said you got that invitation, so you'd been doing it for a couple of years. I don't know whatever the success was or the monetary gain was in that time. How did that first invitation come to you to be like, hey, I want your product or I want to see your product? When did you get that very first break, let's call it?
As in like a celebrity wearing.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Let's go from that perspective because.
And who?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so.
because it would have been quite, in your industry, I imagine it's very much about trying to get those, like that micro influencer or massive influencer, if you can land it, wearing your stuff so that other people can look at it and go, oh, wow, they're wearing that. I want to wear that.
It's reach. Yeah, it's reach and it's influence.
That's right.
So, okay, this is a cool story. So it was around the time of the tennis, Australian Open, and I was out for dinner with my family at a Japanese restaurant and I was wearing a jacket. And anyway, it was like there was a table with Novak Djokovic, Boris Becker, the wives, XYZ, and I happened to know one of the girls on the table. She said, why don't you come over and have a drink? Anyway, I went over, had a drink, and the conversation quickly turned to what I was wearing. And this is what usually happened. It was different. It was unique. It spoke to them. And the wives were like, we love one, we want one. Ended up creating a jacket for them. Jelena Djokovic and Lily Becker, they went back to London. Then they started wearing it around. Obviously they were at events all the time. They went to Victoria Beckham's fashion show, got papped wearing it. And then all of a sudden they started messaging me, my friend wants one, my friend wants one. It just spread. And then Lily Becker happened to be in LA with Nicole Ari Parker, who's this big famous actress. And then they wanted one. It just spread like that. And with the Hadids, that's a separate story. I think basically I was like, who are these big dogs hanging out with? Not everyone's going to be, who are their friends? Blah, blah, blah. Like who are they hanging out with? Who can I get in touch with to get to the big dogs? And I think I started dressing
Big dogs.
The big dogs. I think I started dressing their friends, like you said before, micro influencers who I knew was hanging out with them. And because I knew the clothes spoke, I just had to get it seen. And then Alana Hadid started following me one day and she goes, hey, I just saw my friend in LA wearing one of your jackets. I really like the brand. So we started this pen pal relationship. This is the sister. you guys call the dud. The half
Rob,
sister.
that was Rob. That was his call the other dad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying it.
So we started this pen pal relationship. She started wearing all my clothes to events. She's obviously hanging out with her sisters. Then she had a tracksuit brand. She wanted to do a collaboration together. Yeah. So we created a jacket. Then she said she was at La Pastio one day with her dad. She was wearing the jacket. She messaged me saying, hey, my jacket's getting more attention than me. My dad really wants one. So, and then that's when he was like, hey, I really want one. And then I started dressing the daughters and just kind of went that way.
Who's
fantastic.
the biggest star, you'd say, that has rocked the brand? No pun intended.
Haha.
Well, do you know what the funny thing is with these girls? Like, because I know Hailey Bieber's got 2 jackets. One was gifted through Alana Hadid,
Yeah.
and the other one was through a stylist, Sam Wolf. But I don't have pictures of it, but I know she personally chose it. So, because she asked for oversized, because she only wore oversized. So I created a jacket for her. But to get one of those pictures, I don't know how. So I like had to wait for her to get papped or something. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Who knows? So I know that a lot of famous people have them, but it's about
Whether they
they're
get the photo or
so famous.
Yeah, it's not like you could send a message, hey, send me a photo, I'll give you a 10% discount next time.
But Gigi Hadid and Ruby Rose wore it on a Maybelline ad in New York, which went viral. So that was pretty big. Paris Hilton.
I saw on your on your social media page, you had Robbie Williams.
Yep. Made him a jacket.
Oops.
So that's a guy that I made a jacket, and also Mohammed. See, so I can custom. You want one, don't you, Robbie?
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah, the conversation. No, what do you think? This is a free podcast? Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, mate, could you imagine us rocking up in leopard skins at the next Builder Summit and Success Conference? People will lose their mind. You want to talk about making $1 million days?
Expect nothing less.
yeah.
Sponsored by Rocky Raffaella.
So you've had some pretty big icons.
Yeah.
Do you still are you still in touch with these people as far as, are they still wanting your product? Like, do you find it's fads? Like, not in the sense, not in regards to your brand, but it's like the flavor of the week and like, oh no, I'm over that now. Don't want to do that anymore.
This is so cool because this is just shows like, this is like my thing about who we look up to. Like, I think I'm not putting down Australia in any way, but a lot of influencers here, they're like what I'm trying to say is these ladies went on to buy from my website.
Yeah.
They didn't ask for it for free. They didn't say, oh, I like this. They didn't hint that they wanted it. Nicole Ari Parker, she's on Sex and the City and she's a huge actress in New York. She goes on and purchases it till this day. Lily Becker literally goes on. They don't ask for a code. They literally just go on and buy it.
Yeah.
And
they appreciate the brand and the value it gives them. It's like 100%. Whereas here we've got that mentality. Oh, I'll wear your jacket if you give me a free one, and then I'll put it on my page, and then everyone will want to buy one too.
I was just about to say that exact line.
Yeah.
Oh, I honestly, like who we look up to here, I feel like we need to shift who we look up to because, it's all about.
But from a business perspective, do you play that game?
What do you mean?
Does it cheapen your brand in any way if you play that game? Because say you give it to a micro influencer. I don't even know where to begin. Who's Delta Goodrum? I don't know.
It's not a micro.
I don't fucking know. Like everyone knows. If you don't know, does everyone in Australia knows who Delta Goodrum is?
Well,
it's pretty safe to say.
Let's ask the bloke in the corner.
Iggy, do you know who Delta Goodrum is?
See?
I told you.
I am dead.
Okay. So Delta Goodrum, she comes in, she's like, look,
I can't believe you called Delta
Love
Goodrum
to
a micro.
I would love to dress Delta.
yeah, I'm just saying Delts.
Yeah.
Come here.
Love to
You're
dress
on
her as well.
You're on a Delts name basis with her because you're BFFs now. Delts, I need you to.
Also, she's not a micro influencer.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Someone that's well known in Australia.
Yeah.
Here's my jacket. Wear it. It's yours. It's free. Wear it around. Wear it to The Voice or whatever thing she's doing right here and now. is it a matter of her, if she does that and then everyone sees it, oh, I want that jacket, and then it explodes in that regard, and then you do have those sales and that
Yeah, I mean,
influence and that reach in that regard?
yeah, I mean, it definitely works, especially if people look up to this person. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, we love her. And also, what a sick jacket.
Yeah.
What a sick shirt. Then they're like, they want to buy it. It still works. I just think the attitude of, tall poppy syndrome or wanting to
it's
help
massive, yeah.
people. Like, even, I reached out to someone who had like 5,000 followers. That's it. And they're like, oh, sorry, I only do like paid work or... I forget what it was, but it was like
Yeah,
something ridiculous. It's like,
You
how
want
do
something for
go
nothing. Yeah.
from dressing these huge stars to trying to
Convince someone who's not, like, I don't know this person that's got 5,000 followers. Do you know what I mean?
you know.
No, I don't. Unless I do. Shit.
But I still reach out to those people because I
Yeah.
still think
The micro works. Like it does work. We've got, I won't say who, but we know someone who has, say, 50,000 followers, and they're in that fashion space. And like companies like, I don't know, Officeworks will go, here, play with these crayons with your kids and we'll give you a $5,000 voucher or whatever they give you.
Yeah.
And it's like money for nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's money for jam for them. They're like, okay, cool. I'll take a couple photos, tag Officeworks, and away you go. And now they think about that with everything they do. It's like, oh, cool, I'll wear your jacket, but, I want, well, Officeworks gives me $5,000. I want $5,000 from you, or I want 30% of every sale, or whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
You know, I partly understand it though, because if that's their source of income, it's like saying,
Yeah, for those
Robbie,
people.
can you fix my car? Yeah, sure. But you got to ask a mechanic to fix your car for free. Like, this is what I do this is how I make bread.
Yeah. But it's
Now you
also
want me to go do
it's-
it for free?
No, I get that. I totally get that part. But it's also like
The people,
the
the other,
attitude or only wanting to do what other cool people are doing or
But
like.
it's very much like that. The whole social media is like that,
Yeah.
and especially in that fashion space, I think too.
yeah, and I think the stars in LA, like they're beyond that.
Yeah,
they're not doing that for
it-
money.
That's right. They're
Like,
not doing it.
They're
to
not like,
discount.
hey, I want to, like I'm going to go rep your brand for you to pay me X amount.
Yeah.
They're
Like,
doing
no,
it
no.
because they genuinely like it.
You know, it's like a whole different level of human. It's like when you get in any business, I believe this is the case. Like you get clients who like the client's paying you $50. You're like, what am I getting for this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
client's paying you $50,000 and they like, don't call me.
Yeah.
Here's the money.
Just
it's
do
being
it.
transferred. Don't call me.
Yeah.
In
Just
saying that, though, there are like a lot of amazing influencers in Australia that
Yeah.
do respect that and generally want to do things because they, love it. So it exists for sure. But I feel like we don't want to help as much as, when I was in LA, all the opportunities and everyone wanting to help in London and stuff like that. I think there's a bit more of a thing here.
Yeah.
Like if it's food off my back if you eat.
Yeah, like it's all calculated. It's all strategic. It's a bit fake. There's a bit of a fakeness, in certain groups and just in some areas. There's also, people here that also generally want to help too. I just found, through my experience, just the differences
Yeah.
of
I reckon
working
you're right.
in both countries.
Yeah. And I think there is the aspect of like, I haven't been to the US. We're going very shortly. And a lot of people say when you go to the US, like everyone's like, oh, you won. Yeah. Like, whereas here, it's kind of like,
They celebrate
don't
wins.
don't say how much money you made.
Yeah.
Don't let them, you know what I mean? Keep it hush. Like, because people start to frown. There's a,
Jealousy.
yeah, you know
Well,
what I mean?
and I use this analogy a bit, and I'm keen to do it. I'm looking forward to the day I do it. It's like if I rock up to site in a Lambo, okay, what do you think? Imagine the builder on the job rocks up to site and he's in a $500,000 car, $1 million car. Like all the tradies will look at you differently. Probably the owners will look at you differently going, oh, mate, you must be making a killing on my job if you're driving a Lambo around. You're obviously ripping me off.
The judgment straight away.
Whereas so many other people, like you say, in the States, there's like, oh, well done, man. Like,
Yeah.
what did you do to get that? And how can I do it?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly
what
right.
lessons could I learn? You're obviously really successful. How do we celebrate that? Not how do we bring it down because I'm not that.
That's exactly what I've been trying to say. You literally have said it the way I wanted to.
Yeah. I think
Sometimes I stumble over my words, but you nailed it.
the States, I think we forget how much people are in the States as well, or how many people.
Yeah, they're much
just
bigger
the-
demographic.
So
It's
bigger.
just the mentality. Like, yeah.
What do you have aspirations to get into, like a David Jones or a Myer, like a bulk retailer to sell your product? Is that aligned with your brand, or are you like selling your soul when you do that sort of stuff?
That's a good question. I think for now, it's like just focusing on those high-end boutiques. Who your brand is sitting next to is also, a
So
big part.
are your clothes in shops today? So if
Yeah.
I go to a shop at Chadstone, could I find your jacket?
So we are just looking. So we are looking into wholesaling right now. So I'm probably in under 10 stores. My prime focus is online.
Yes.
So I was always trying to do too much, the PR, the this, the that, the this. So we've pulled it right back. Also, I'm in a completely different headspace, being 13 months off alcohol. Like my whole world's changed. So now I feel like my mindset is like $1 million
So
mindset.
stopped. Yeah, that's it.
$1
So
million
stopped
mindset.
alcohol
Yeah.
for 13 months?
Yeah. For
Fantastic.
good.
Have you had a urge to drink again?
Not once.
Awesome.
Why'd
Yeah.
you stop?
I think it was just fueling this. There was a lot of unresolved like trauma and pain within me. And, when I drank, it would come out, I'd get aggressive or like do things or like it just didn't align with who I wanted to be. As I kind of healed and got better, so did the drinking, but you just never knew like what could trigger me to kind of go back to something.
So was it a matter of not like you'd have a couple of drinks or you'd have 13 drinks?
It could be anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't your typical alcoholic. I wouldn't drink every night. It was just when I did, something
was just got
bad.
out of control.
Yeah, something bad could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like my mind is in, I've learned, especially before I spoke about like failing or fucking up, like I think everything's just clicked now. And I think from trying to do too much, we've pulled it back and we're like, okay, let's work with what's good. My ranges have changed. Everything's kind of changed. And now we're kind of looking where we want to sit. So we're working with, people that are aligning with, our growth. And now I'm starting to get into high-end boutiques around Australia. So, yeah, I'm not too fussed about that, more online at the moment. But, yeah, I think David Jones and places like that, I don't know.
Probably not ideal.
Yeah, because there's a lot of other factors that go into it as well. Like they have more control on what's sale and I don't know. I think there's a lot of more logistics. I don't think I'm ready to do that yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that the goal though? Like at some point or no, never?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth, definitely. I just have to be very mindful of where I want to sit.
I mean, I don't know much about this brand, but my wife wears a Neen Bing.
Yep.
And it's like, you don't know a Neen Bing? Everyone knows a Neen Bing.
She loves it.
What's it? What is that?
It's a brand.
Oh, it's a brand. Okay.
Yeah. There's no leopard range. That's probably why you don't know
probably
it.
They do have a sort of animal in the front though. They do these eagle teas.
Yeah, but no leopards. So you wouldn't know.
And Ning Bing.
A Neen.
A name.
A
Like Janine without the J.
Just like that. Anyway, long story short, she was wearing it and then that brand went into David Jones or Myer or wherever it was. And then she's like, oh, I don't really like this anymore because it lost that exclusivity. It was like everyone's wearing this now, whereas before it was just the select few and now it's like everyone's got it. The T-shirts went from $300 a T-shirt to $80 a T-shirt and it's like it just became another brand.
I feel like you should answer all my questions because I like exactly what I was meant to say. I think the brand is a little bit more niche.
Yeah.
Like level of exclusivity.
Yeah, like you're not going to go out and like with the name being like a lot of people are wearing her T-shirt down the street.
Which is totally fine. It's
Totally
like,
fine.
I'm just saying it's a different.
If that's
it's
where
a different
you want
clientele.
to be.
That's right.
If
Absolutely.
that's where you
like
want
it
to be.
becomes a numbers game after that. Okay, you've gone from selling, 50 units to 50,000 units.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So it's a different game.
yeah. So I guess to reframe your question, what's the ultimate goal? Like where do you want to see it go?
I want to go global. I have had my fun there. I came back to focus on Australia. Australia's doing really well. So I want to expand now, overseas. I mean, the brand is very overseas. It's very LA. It's very London. It's like that rock star chic vibes. So it does really well here. But I kind of neglected Australia.
Yeah.
So now that, we are really focused here and kind of nailing this aspect, that will be 5 to 10 year goal.
So, because you were in that place, Bali,
Bali, yeah.
for a little while.
Yes, that place.
You've been there before?
Bali?
Once before. So you were there for a few years living there.
Yeah,
weren't you? So what was the logic? Did you go there for work purposes? Like, was that I'm going to go to Bali because this is good for the brand and the business and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I manufacture there.
Still?
Yep, still. So
Is that from a cost perspective?
no, it's more expensive.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's
I
way
find
more.
that really surprising.
Yeah.
I find that really surprising. I thought it would be cheaper there than
No.
what it is here.
Compared to what here?
Oh, no, sorry. Compared to here. Well, no. I'm talking about like China.
Oh,
and-
okay. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
we've got a friend.
do-
I've got a friend that he's got a brand, which I might tell you about another time, that they've just taken off, like huge. And they manufacture everything in China.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And it's good quality stuff, but he just does it all there. They don't make anything here. It's just way too expensive. Like their profits just
Yeah,
They're-
no,
they're shredded.
to manufacture here is just
It's not. We're not. Australia does not a production.
No.
No.
But then what happened was because I was living over there, manufacturing there, I became really close with my team. And now it's like my second family. So, yeah, I think I'm very comfortable there for now. The quality is great. I'm happy with everything. And why I moved there, for work. And also there's a kind of healing, a lot of lost people go there and try and find themselves. And I did a lot of retreats over there. And
Well, Robbie just got back recently. Yeah, for
Spoke about it.
Christmas. No, it was a Christmas break.
right now,
When you saw my with my red shoes.
Your red shoes.
Had you heard of that one that he went to?
No.
Yeah.
I was like in the bush doing like, not ayahuasca, but like, I was doing like,
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So for everyone listening,
Like,
she
I was-
held her hands on her head.
oh, sorry, I thought you could see me. I was doing emotional
No, we can. It'll be on
healing
YouTube. You'll see it.
and yoga and, all that kind of,
But you did a bit of that too whilst you were there.
Ayahuasca, no.
No, yoga and shit.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you do in Bali?
That's all you do in Bali.
I think it was a balance for me of, prospering that kind of design element. And also there was a lot of healing going on as well. So it served its purpose, but no longer does. So now I'm purely based in Melbourne.
Oh, so no more Bali.
No,
Okay.
we're looking at, no.
But still manufacturing.
Yeah, still manufacturing.
How long did you live there for?
On and off since the brand, maybe 8 years on and off. But I did stints. Like I had the store in Melbourne. I was in LA for like 4 months. I was in London for a bit, like just kind of chasing the business, just doing whatever I needed to do. So it wasn't like I was stuck on the island. Like I never stayed there more than 1 or 2 months at a time. And if I did, I would go crazy.
Yeah.
You need that city element,
Yeah, it's very different place.
I haven't been for a very long time, so I couldn't even tell you. Couldn't even tell you.
So you've been in business for 9 years now?
Yeah.
What's your what is, if you could talk to yourself when you first started this whole journey, what's the one thing you'd tell yourself? Like, what's the one thing where you're like, my biggest worry was this, or I wish I did this at the start, or I wish I knew what?
I wish I honestly got on top of my mental health earlier. I think that drove this kind of, because I was solely running the business and every aspect of it. When I wasn't good, the brand wasn't good. So it was kind of like this up and down roller coaster of hitting huge success, but then hitting rock bottom because I mentally was not okay. So I think if I'd caught on to that earlier, but then again,
Hindsight's
it was
a good
my
thing.
journey. Yeah, it was my
But-
journey.
So what is it that allowed you to get to the point? Like, was there a particular thing, like the straw that broke the camel's back? Was there a moment, an event, a thing that occurred where you're like, this is that you can talk about, obviously?
Yeah.
This is it. Enough. Like,
Enough's
this is-
enough.
You know what I mean? Like, was there something that occurred that you wish had occurred earlier?
I think I'm just fucking up that much over and over again.
So it's just like a compounding effect of all the events over and over. And then you're like, you know what? I'm fucking.
Yeah, until I looked at myself. I remember hitting all this success, right? I remember sitting next to Muhammad and I was looking at all the people that watching his life when he went like this. He was talking about this amazing designer, talking me up. Like it was a surreal moment. And all these famous names were watching me. And I just remember that night being like, what's next? Like, I was chasing success, but it wasn't making me feel good. That lasted that time being. And then I was like, okay, what are you going to do next? So it was like, I remember being like, you'll never be happy if you don't fix what's within, because you can keep chasing success and making all this money at Fred Siegel. And God, I was doing whatever I wanted, but I wasn't happy. So it's kind of like, when you talk about I'll be happy when, or like, when, I don't know, I get that car, when I make that money. It was kind of like that just happened. And I was like, all right, you need to fix all this stuff. Otherwise, no matter what you do for work will ever purely make you happy.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's very well said. And it's also a lonely journey up the top. You have no one else to go to.
Yeah.
It's like the brand's successful, it's you. The brand's not successful, it's you. You can't go home and speak to your parents and go, oh, had a shit month.
Yeah.
And what advice are they going to give you? Again, like you look at who you're going to for your advice. They can't necessarily help you. And that's good that you were able to reach out to certain mentors or people or do things that then brought you that inner peace and balance that you needed in your life.
What's that quote? It's like, the wolf climbing the hill is never, no, the wolf on top of the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've heard that one.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. That's a good one.
I like that one.
I know.
Yeah.
There's another one. It's like it's about a wolf. It's a wolf that's, there are two wolves inside of you.
Oh, yeah.
A wolf that's, one
Japanese
that's, that one. And it's like,
the bad wolf, the good wolf.
yeah, it's like the fear. There's the wolf that has the fear, and then there's the wolf that has the courage. It's like which wolf wins.
Yeah,
They're
which one do
battling
you
each other.
feed? Yeah,
it's like whichever one you feed.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact quote now. I want to find it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that would definitely be kind of, or maybe working for a company before. I mean, I just went straight into it, like in the deep end, maybe kind of learning, all the things. I don't know.
But that can also hinder you too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is how you do it to be successful. And that's it. And then you go out and try and replicate what a hugely successful company has done, and then it fails.
Yeah.
Whereas when you do it, you've done it your own way. And yeah, look, arguably it could have taken you longer doing it your own way.
100%.
But also it adds that unique twist to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creative elements, I think, your own way.
Yeah.
But I think there'd be some business fundamentals that you probably learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I wish someone showed me this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
And
I
said the same thing because we spoke about this on the podcast a few weeks back, and I was like, if I could go back, I would go and work for someone for 2 years and just learn everything I need to know about what I'm going to do and then go do it.
Yeah.
As opposed to just
But then
diving in.
When it comes to personality, I don't think I could have, like, I'm very set on like doing things. Like I had someone reach out to me if I could mentor them or help them. And I was like, I don't actually know if I could teach what I do. Like, it's so out of the book on how I work. People would be like, you're crazy. Like, I don't do things the way that normal people would do them.
Yeah, but that's not to say you can't teach someone how to do it.
But I don't know what I'm doing.
But the highest level of mastery is teaching.
Yeah.
So if you were forced to show someone how to do it, you need to understand what you do better.
Yeah.
So you'll actually get better at what you do because you kind of have to.
Okay. Maybe I'll write a book.
Maybe you'll write a book. Maybe you'll make us a jacket.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Smocking.
Smocking.
I want you to smock a jacket.
Hand smock.
Hand smock.
Right.
That's right.
What would
This
you
is hand
guys?
smock.
What would you guys tell your younger self? Did you answer that question just now?
That's what we were talking about, our journeys at that time. That's what I said. I said, if I could redo this again, I would go sit down with someone and learn a lot of the fundamental stuff that I learned over a longer period of time.
Yeah, right. So
in a
it's
short
about
period.
timing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my thing.
I would be, when I first got into the industry, because I worked for the big companies all these companies that I work for, I was very arrogant in the sense that I was like, nah, I'm just going to be really good at construction and learn nothing else. I don't need to learn about anything else.
Yeah.
And I would go back and say, no, just read books, read more books, learn about business, think outside the box. Like, just because everyone is doing it this way doesn't mean you have to do it this way. You can do it other ways.
Yeah.
And I reckon had I had that mindset when I first started my business or just better educated, I think I would have gotten to my goals sooner
Yeah.
or achieved my goals sooner.
I remember hearing something about, oh my God, I've gone blank, the inventor of the iPhone.
Steve Jobs.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then, he talks about kind of like using two ideas and putting them together. I think it's like synthetic imagination. So it's like, for example, he did a phone, an iPod, and an iPad and just put them together. So they were existing ideas, but no one had done them before. So that's kind of like where I was with the jacket that kind of all the celebs want. There was the iconic biker jacket that was created back in, I don't know, whatever, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I created that with a hand carving technique, which was already done in Indonesia and which they do. And I put that together, and that's when the jacket went so viral because people hadn't seen it before. So it's just about also, putting other people's, ideas and creating something that no one's done before.
And that's what you're wearing now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So is that where you look to get your inspiration from? As far as
Bikes.
No, my inspiration comes from my inner world, like what's going on at the time. Like, you never know. There's so much going on.
Yeah, I find it so interesting because I'm like the least creative person
Yeah.
that I know. Like I am just so 0-1, like binary, logic,
No
nothing,
design. Yeah.
zero.
That's-
When I say I have 37 black t-shirts, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm genuinely.
Well, that's your thing. You own the black t-shirt. Like that's your thing.
That's my creativity.
See, like by looking at, this is probably my strength, and this, like my brain. Like if you said design a collection just off this, like already my brain started already.
We'll
like
buy it.
just
Do it. We'll buy it.
one picture, like
everywhere.
the line work, the lights. Like my brain just goes.
Yeah.
And that's my strength. So when it comes to design, that's fine. It's about learning the business side that I've had to kind of jump into.
Yeah,
So that's why there should be,
That'd be a cool jacket, by the way. It'd be a sick jacket
we'll give one away.
to me. So if someone wanted to buy a jacket,
Yep,
where could they get one?
online.
Yeah, give us a bit more details.
Can I just guess? They guess the
Just
website?
work it out.
Just figure it out,
The
guys.
smocking jacket.
The smocking
So,
jacket by
online.
that Aussie chick that lived in Bali for a
Yeah.
while.
No, not anymore. I'm very Melbourne based. www.rockyraffaella.com.
Spell Raffaella for everyone.
Rafaela.
You're
Very
get
cool.
that.
Very
.com.
cool.
Yeah, that's really
Tom, just go back 15 seconds on the podcast and
Yeah.
sort it out. Hey, just on that.
Yes.
So it's random, so sideways. I was listening to this podcast the other day.
Yeah.
'Cause why else would you
What
not?
else would you listen to?
What else would you listen to? So I was listening to this, and then as I was listening to the podcast, I said through the mic, because I asked Siri a question, and I was like, "Hey Siri, what's the capital of Australia?"
Yeah.
So it came through the speakers. Shut up, yeah, seriously.
Northern Territory.
So that happened, right? And as I said that through the speakers of my car, then Siri connected and answered the question again. Because do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it would connect to the phone, and then I'm like, "No, shut up!" And then it would go back into the podcast, but before that point,
'Cause
and then
it
it goes back to the 15 seconds prior, and then it would say it again, "Hey Siri," and then it would go through it again, and it would just keep looping.
Was this on your recording?
No, because it was coming through the
listening-
speakers in my car,
listening to
and my
the
phone
recording.
was in the car. So every time I would say, "Hey Siri," then my phone would go off, then it would connect to the Bluetooth, and it was just a vicious cycle for like 15 minutes. I had to turn my Bluetooth off, throw my phone out the window.
Oh, what a nightmare.
It was full on. Sideways.
Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. So that's really cool. If people want to find you on socials, where do they go? For that?
Rocky Raffaella.
Yeah.
ROCKYRAFAELA.
That's the company. Do you do any personal brand stuff? Well, not really.
Personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do personal brand as well as your company brand?
Yeah. So
Do you think that's important in your space that people see the face behind the brand?
Yeah, I share a lot more behind the scenes there, and I can talk about things a bit more openly. Where I keep the brand, I share some things because
Yeah.
I've also got 2 different followers on
Yeah.
both. But yeah, I think Rochelle at Rocky Raffaella, no, not at Rochelle_Rocky Raff is where I kind of show the nitty gritty stuff of the
Yeah.
design.
I think
So,
that's
yeah.
important. I think
Yeah.
I think any business you're in, you should have a professional brand.
It's like a portfolio, like
Yeah,
this is
without a
what
doubt.
I've done. Yeah,
Yeah, without a doubt. That's awesome.
One last question.
go on.
Why Rocky Raffaella?
Oh, good one to end, Robbie.
I was just thinking about it then. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought it was your name for ages.
No,
Until I worked
like
out it wasn't.
first name Rocky, last name Raffaella.
Like 15 minutes ago.
I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
15 seconds.
So Rocky was my nickname since birth.
Since Paul.
Since birth.
Yeah. Okay.
Since birth. My parents asked my brother, what do you want to call your sister? He's 4 years older. We had a grandpa who was a boxer, died from a brain tumor. He liked boxing. So he said Rocky. So since birth, I was Rocky.
And then the Raffaella.
Raffaella, I heard it in a church one day. And I looked up the meaning because I just really loved it. And in Hebrew, so random, it meant God to heal. So the Rocky and the Raffaella is very yin and yang. So the Rocky is like that unstoppable force, that masculine energy. Raffaella is like the God to heal, the creative side, the artistic approach. And that's how I design with both kind of soft and hard elements.
Very, very
That's
cool.
very cool.
I
Yeah.
like the meaning. I like the logic behind the brand and the name. That's really cool.
It rings well too, Rocky Raffaella.
Yeah,
It does. Yeah. It's actually got a very cool flow to it.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, make sure you
Make sure you-
follow the journey.
And buy a jacket before Robbie does.
And you can't, because by the time this comes out,
Yeah, that's right. He would have bought 3.
give her a follow and make sure you send her a DM and say, make $1 million days jacket.
Yeah. Let's put the pressure on.
Put the pressure on.
And the only
Congrats
way you
to
can
everything.
do that is if you subscribe to this podcast. Because if you do that, then that's how we can all put pressure on Rochelle to make us $1 million day jackets.
I might start calling you Rocky from now on.
People do. It's not weird.
It's no.
That's done. You heard it here first.
Thank you guys for having me on here. You're both very smart guys. Always love a chat with you both.
Who's smarter?
Well, I'm going to have to say George, and I'll tell you why, because I know him more.
Yeah.
And we've had more one-on-one conversations.
It makes a lot more sense.
That might change.
Good. There one.
It will. It will. Nah, that's fair. I'll give you that one. You can have it. You're older than me as well.
I am.
very old.
I'm 40. Over the hill. You got to give me some wins every now and then.
Not over the hill. 50's over the hill.
Nah.
I might go out and buy some red shoes tomorrow.
Ooh.
They won't work for you.
That doesn't work that way.
That's not how it works.
I'll race you. We'll see who's quicker
In Vegas.
in Vegas.
Done. You're on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Rochelle, for joining us. And we cannot wait to have you back here next week. And as always, I hope you have a
$1 million day. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.